Yeah, welcome to Tavern Talk. We are a full spoiler live talk show based on the epic fantasy series, The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. My name is Ryan, and joining me as always is Brother Dances with Dragons and the Gleeman. Tonight we have a great show. We're continuing our Read React series covering the Wheel of Time and Philosophy book right here, edited by Jacob M. Held. And we are covering chapter 10, which is called Glimpsing the Pattern and Salvaging a Semblance of Choice by Dean A. Kowalski. Dan, you want to tell us about Dean?
Sure. Dean Kowalski is a professor of philosophy and the associate dean of academic affairs in the College of General Studies at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. He teaches philosophy of religion, Asian philosophy, and ethics. He's also authored, edited, or co-edited more than a dozen books, each with a connection to pop culture. He says that although he can neither sing, dance, juggle, nor play an instrument, he fancies himself as a fantabulous Gleeman.
Excellent. Yeah, and I would agree. Like, this is an extremely well-written short article. He packs a lot into this, but it reads so well. Yet there are sentences I had to reread, and ponder because this is like high philosophy, which is great. And speaking of high philosophy, we have a special guest who's joining us. Let's bring him in right now.
Do it. Hey.
High philosophy. I don't know.
DT.
Hey guys.
I hope at least one of
dearest friends.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, DT.
Guys, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah. So we were just talking about backstage that the conversation, once the show came out, the conversation shifted, and we're trying to bring it back to like the nerdiest angles on this that we could possibly get to. And we figured we needed an expert. And I know that you're an expert in free will, and especially, the works of Euripides, Socrates, and the greats.
Yeah, we go back. I knew a guy named that once, I think. But I honestly, I've been catching most of your shows, and I definitely have some imposter syndrome here because you guys got some big brains and you've been bringing up some incredible stuff on this. So I'm not sure how much I'll be able to contribute. I'm usually like every other sentence when I listen to you, I'm like, oh wow, I never thought of that. Like so, but it's really cool what you're doing because this book isn't being talked about enough. It is, like you said, neat to get back to these deep, cosmic kind of conversations as opposed to the what's happening in this episode. What didn't I like about it? Like that was getting tired really quick. So kudos to you guys for finding this and starting it. It's been really enjoyable.
And I like that we together here are doing our little part to restore diplomatic relations between our two fine countries.
That's right.
I, for one, love Canadians, and I want them on every week. So
yeah, you guys will make the best 50-second state. Of all the autonomous,
I apologize for my brother.
Yeah. Of all the autonomous countries in the world that we want to be statehood, like I want you guys to be.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't, right? I mean, I don't blame anybody for wanting Canada to join, though. I think we're pretty great. We got our own contingent of mini MAGA here too, so it's pretty interesting times and interesting world. It's nice to get lost back in the Wheel of Time, I'll tell you, during all this.
Absolutely. So this. Yeah, well, Jansen, before we start, how you doing? Do you have anything to announce? Anything to talk about before we get into it?
Nothing to announce. Just been working, trying to produce things and become new people every day. Been fun.
Awesome.
I've been seeing some pretty cool costumes. I saw a law enforcement. I saw a spiritual leader. I've been seeing all kinds of these cool costumes you sent us.
Yeah, it's been fun. Been real fun.
You look
That's
great.
why. Thank you. That's some of the best parts of it for me. A lot of not that they're bad. I don't judge anybody, but there's a lot of people out there who do what I do and care more about the time between action and cut. And there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it, and it's super fun and super satisfying to work with people from all walks of life, all different religions and creeds and colors, and working on a production to get something like incredible together is so much fun. So yeah, it's great.
I've seen quite a few very cool costumes that you have worn. Although I never really got fully in costumed per se for things. My closest thing would be sports, right? And I was having this conversation with someone, and they were saying how a jersey needs to feel like a jersey. It can't feel like a t-shirt. It needs to feel like you're putting on something different. You got to button it up. It's a weird thing, or you're wearing that weird tank top if you're a basketball player or a football thing. Like all this stuff, you dress them, even if you don't need that black stuff on your face, you do it because it helps you get into that part, right?
Yeah, when you put something on that's not the norm and it's a uniform or a costume or it's something for something, you walk different, you stand different, you feel different. It helps get you into a character, even if it's something in real life and you're a security guard. It gets you ready. You're ready to go. It's fun.
Yeah,
that's a fascinating component. I never thought about that. Like improv acting, you might be like, okay, you're a cop, and you're like, oh, and you just like walk around, but you're still wearing your clothes. Like if you actually put on a cop outfit like that, you embodying that character should be like more like, I don't know, organic.
Definitely feels different to me. It does to me. Well, you could ask my wife or my kids this. I love dressing up and stuff. Like that's why Halloween's my favorite holiday.
You do a lot of role play in the bedroom.
I believe those records are sealed.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Neither confirmed nor denied. Let's move it on. Well, actually, yeah. Oh, go ahead. We are talking about men in this, and this essay is an interesting one. It deals primarily with show-based men, and again, with these essays that are based on the show, there is differences between the character that he's writing about and the character that exists in the books. And let's get into that a little bit. The character of Min in the series is seeing actual flashes of pattern. It almost seems like there are images she is seeing. She's not really interpreting as much as viewing, and she is not right every single time. There is a noted example that the essay brings up about her vision of Matt, and she was drunk when she says it, but she says, you kill him, you stab him with that ruby dagger, you kill him, referring to Rand. Not only does he not stab Rand, he kind of uses a spear, he throws it, which I don't know if that's stabbing per se, but it was a spear, it wasn't the knife. The whole thing was weird, and Rand never died from it. And so when we're dealing with this essay here, we're dealing with a Min that has proven some fallibility. While the book Min is utterly infallible, yet does not necessarily always interpret what she is seeing, because what she is seeing is more esoteric and symbolic. But if she's able to interpret it, she is always right. There is no wrong with her.
Yes.
And go ahead.
She sees differently in the books as well. Like you said in the show, she was seeing like an image, almost like a show or a movie or a scene. She watches a scene happen. In the books, I've always more interpreted it as like it might be a symbol, like there's a raven floating above his head, and she
Yeah.
either knows what it means or she doesn't have a clue what it means. It's just that's the symbol, or that's just kind of what I saw, more like a flash vision of a stationary thing. Not She doesn't see what will happen. She sees something that tells her what will happen. It's very different in the show, and obviously cinematic reasons that makes more sense probably.
Definitely.
But yeah, you're right though. She doesn't make mistakes in the book, but because of the way she views it, it leads to mistakes in the show. So they are a bit different.
Yeah, correct. And we do see the visions with her. They're kind of these wispy scenes that we see. So we're seeing go ahead.
And I was gonna say, and like these failings or this like haziness to her visions, he acknowledges throughout the article, and in the end, just basically says like, yeah, like what they did in the show really like makes it hard to really talk about because there's just like inconsistencies, you know. But he did his best to kind of like explain, you know, and we'll get into it. He talks about the difference between like predeterminism based on like a god controlling things who is timeless and a human who sees like has foreknowledge of things who is not timeless, who's like anyway, so like that I can't wait to talk about that. This article blew my mind. Like there is this one component of it that I had never thought of before. We have talked a lot about free will on this channel. It's almost ad nauseum, but I can't wait to get into this because I think it really adds a different like aspect of free will that we've never talked about. You know, there's like free will in this world where like I don't know if anyone on screen believes that there is a like unitary God just controlling us like puppets. Like I don't know if anyone believes that anymore, but back when philosophy was literally getting started, Socrates and you know that era, they believed that. They believed in a God who like knew everything and controlled everything and had knowledge of the past, present, and future. And if that was your idea of God, then like there are these like challenges come up. One being like, well, if God knows I'm going to sin and allows it to sin, is God still just, or am I or is my sin not a sin? Because
it was predestined and created that way.
Because God knew I was going to sin in the first place. So like that whole thing gets broken down in a way that I thought was really, really fascinating.
So, you know, here's my question to that. Because, you know, it makes me think of like, you know, there's that one island, that weird island in the world where in our world, where people have never, ever met civilized people. In fact, people aren't even allowed there. It's like somewhere.
Oh, it's off the coast of India.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, the last like 4 people who tried to go over there were last seen, and then they were cannibalized.
Oh yeah, it's illegal to go there because they've never had any contact. Yeah,
these people, it's a pretty much 99.9999999% assurity that these people don't follow, have never heard of Christianity, Judaism, any of those things, right? So what if all the people in Randland never knew about the wheel, the turning of the wheel? Do they still have, where does free will come in? Because it's like, what if nobody knows that they're going to be reborn again? Nobody knows that there's going to be a cycle. Nobody knows any of those things. Where does free will come?
Well, that's where we're at. I mean, like, so what's fast? Yeah, like that's us right now. We're what, the first age or second age, right? Like modern time in that novel was 2 ages prior. So it wasn't. What are we? First age?
I'm not sure it ever says what, but it was Probably
But I
somewhere
mean,
between 6, 7, or 1. It wouldn't
Yeah,
have been
we're the
2.
first stage. I think we're the first stage because the
yeah.
second age is the Age of Legends, and then it goes into
The
the
third
third
age, yeah.
age, which is when Rand's born.
So yeah,
Although the
so
first stage is when portal stones came from. So I've always thought we would not be the first stage. We would be probably the 7th. But
Oh, that's a
oh
good point.
shit.
That's a good point.
So hey,
That's
that
a good
just
point.
speaks to German engineering, because that Mercedes-Benz symbol just lasted
Yeah.
3 fucking ages, man. You can't kill that fucking.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
All right, so we are equated into that. So that's a good question. Like, we are the age that doesn't believe in the turning of the wheel. We don't know this shit. We don't talk about pattern. We don't talk about wheel. We talk about God, Jesus, and America.
Somewhere North Sentinel Island. I think that's what's
so
called,
here's the interesting thing though is when we're dealing with like prophecy and stuff, and I'll ask you, DT and Jansen, do you think that if Rand had no idea of any of the prophecies, that they all still would have been fulfilled?
Well, he didn't know about the first one. Did he fulfill?
Sure.
Nope.
being born.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we know that it just like Bear says to Avienda, and this is crucial. If we know one thing can be changed, then everything can be changed.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a bear said.
No.
Forest fire.
Because that's a huge factor in the Wheel of Time, is that they have those Aiel Terangriel, because they're one of the many things, but they're one of the things that prove concretely that things can be changed.
Well, yeah. Okay.
They do definitely talk about that. Yeah, that's a good point.
So
but there's different ways of like accessing that kind of knowledge, right? So like man's way of accessing the future, literally, like those closest to the pattern, like that is a different way of accessing it than that Terangriel, for sure.
We also don't know if that Terangriel necessarily knows the absolute outcome.
Correct.
Like supposedly Min does. We don't know that.
We do know that it's absolutely correct about the Age of Legends, though.
So we know it's correct about the past,
Sure.
but that's a
For the
very
past,
different thing
yes.
than being right about
Yes.
the future.
Yes,
Correct.
we know it's correct. We know it's absolutely correct about the past. So,
so yeah, and so I thought that instantly when she changed the kid's name, that I'm like, oh, okay, well, that just works differently. Min's visions would not allow that, or would not be as detailed. I mean, I guess they can call it whatever they want, but if the name Rand al'Thor was prophesized, then it would have been Rand al'Thor regardless, I think. See, this is where the show messed up. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, like, to your point though, like, she changed the name. So many things could have happened. She could die, the child gets adopted, and that family changes it to the name that was prophesized. So just because she changed the name, we don't know if she changed the prophecy or not. We don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But the show shows that the show seems to indicate, especially the last part of season 2, when Moraine creates the dragon in the sky above Falma, above Rand al'Thor, as if to fulfill a prophecy. And I thought it was a weird choice to make, not only for the show itself, but just in terms of prophecy, that she shouldn't have had to do shit. I
thought that was fucked up, because basically what she did in the show to me was make Pedron Nile right. You know, like a false dragon, like on Aes Sedai strings, that's exactly what it was.
What? You mean the show did something fucked up?
I know.
Hold on, they made something needlessly complex and
dude, I tried so hard to like it. Nobody tried harder.
But I'm a firm believer, especially in the books, that the prophecy does reign free. One of the very interesting points that this essay makes is that Min apparently in the show saw Soldier Tam Althor in a dark alleyway and instantly had a vision of blood and snow. She saw a baby born in Dragon Mount. She saw this soldier take this child to a remote village surrounded by 2 rivers, and that he was a sheep herder. And this was Tam Althor, Soldier Tam, walking down an alley, had never met Rand. None of this stuff was put into motion. And so that, how much choice then did Tam Althor have in any of this in regards to him getting Rand and taking care of him? If a vision existed.
Well, think about this. Remember what Tam said though at the end, like why you do something also is a change. Or, why you do something can make something different. Like when you say you have no choice, because if you think about it, man, like if you do something right now, physically, whether it's beat somebody up or pick somebody up, and that's all anybody knows about what you did. 100 years from now, they're going to know that you did that physically. Now, mentally is different. But if somebody knows that you were alive 100 years ago and you died hating somebody and they know nothing else, 100 years from there, they're still going to know that guy died hating somebody. So that impact from that thought or that feeling is just as bad 100 years, just as strong 100 years from now as the physical act is.
Okay, but what we're seeing is, let's say we're seeing Tam Althor a good month beforehand. Well, a month before the baby's born. The Aya woman may not even be at the mountain yet. And yet everything from him was dictated from that point forward. And he could say he did it for love, which I assume he did. Because he didn't know there was a prophecy. He didn't know that there was a vision that he was going to do this. He did it out of genuine love.
Did he have no choice in it? Could he have made any other choice?
But he had no choice in it. If it's
right?
So
I look at it this way, though.
Yeah, go on.
Like he's not going to not be Tam just because he can decide to be someone different. He's still going to be himself, and I think he was always going to make that decision because it's who he is. These decisions, like if he finds a baby, he's not going to abandon it. He could have fucking killed the kid, just stab it and eaten it if he'd wanted. Yeah. But he's never going to make that choice.
I think it would be safe to say that anybody from the 2 rivers, any man from the 2 rivers would have done the same thing.
Yeah, probably. So,
however, the fact that she predicted him going and being a ship herder in the 2 rivers. These are oddly specific fortunes being told.
Well, she didn't say in the 2 rivers. She said where there were 2 rivers.
Sure.
Like, so she saw the vision of her little video and knew it, like that's basically what it was.
So they get into that, and I want to answer that. I don't know if I believe in my answer, but this is one of the arguments that was presented. What a timeless God can see about the future and what men can see about the future are very similar. They're seeing what is and not what will be. And that, right. So they're just seeing what happens. That doesn't mean that they're the people. They're just seeing the culmination of the choices of the people making those decisions. And then at some point she sees that this happens. Does that make sense? So it's not like she's and that distinction is not just a wordplay. It's the essence of what this argument's about. There is a way to include free will into this because one, she's not always correct in the book, in the show. And again, this is one limitation of this show only. But the idea that okay, if God knows I'm gonna fucking sin tomorrow and doesn't stop me or intervene in any way or whatever, that doesn't mean God predicted it. God is seeing it as it is happening,
or must have been or is it part of his plan?
Right. I mean, so let's say you have some weird kink that is disruptive to your life. and may be illegal.
yeah.
Even let's say you really like farm animals or something, and these things you could, yeah. How would that be part of his plan? Yeah, I guess we could say so. But this is someone that doesn't necessarily want this happening, and yet
Well, I mean, yeah.
there he is, right?
I mean,
And
there's a
so
difference
no plan.
between.
Yeah.
There's a fascinating difference between the Christian God and like the wheel and the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And like those are like concepts that like, and he addresses it, those concepts like muddy the whole like history of these conversations, because it
It's
adds
true.
it adds this element of like, you know, recurrence and the you know, and like Hinduism and all these things that like the ancient philosophers weren't talking about. So
it's
fun to think about, like, so I guess the ultimate question is like, do the Evansfield Five, do we need to break it up? Do the Evansfield Five in the show have free will more than the books, or do we want to not talk about them as separate? Like,
speaking of that, why did the author say what he did in the beginning of chapter 10 when he says now they're 5, including even Matt?
Including
why did the
even
author
Matt?
say that? Yeah, the very beginning.
I don't know.
Because Matt didn't go to the Eye of the World, because they were talking about when Moraine
in the
had
book,
just
in the
talking
show.
to him at the Eye of the World.
Okay.
I'm just
See,
going
this
to
is another reason why I don't like this chapter, because I wish they would have focused more on the book aspect, because I believe that they still could have made the same points or got around to some of those same points. But when they started off, it made
I'm
not sure the author read the book.
Let me circle back to what Ryan was talking about before with this, like a God that sees past, present, future all at once. No, it is all true. It is all there. We have a wheel that wills, and then we have a pattern. Do you see, and a DT, do you see the pattern as infinite? Do you see the pattern as having the future attached to it?
I'm not sure I fully understand what you mean, but I think one thing that Ryan said that's really important, especially when we're talking about, it's never really mentioned in the books in any, or even hinted at, that the creator or the pattern, other than the wheel, like has a plan or is directing you. Whereas in Christianity, that is often a focal point. You know, it is God's will, it's God's plan that you do this. So that is a very important point. I think it's always that's worth pointing out. So,
well, they kind of, if you think about it, they actually kind of, in a small way, do. Because the only thing you can really, really attribute religion to in the books is walking in the light.
Well,
right? That's pretty much all you can attribute that to: good and evil, walking in the light, or being a dark friend, or whatever. And
right.
And Amis says this to Avienda: the pattern is not good or evil.
Or evil. Right.
So it's like the pattern itself is the product of the wheel. So it can't be good or evil, right? It's just like the product.
No, and I always think like the pattern is like its own. It's like its motivation is to sustain itself, and that's neither good nor bad. It needs to continue to exist. It's like the idea of like, if AI like gets like super sentient, all of a sudden it's just like, well, you humans are a hindrance to our existence. Like, we become expendable because their MO is to just stay alive. You know, and it's a classic sci-fi thing. It's like, you know, like you know, like the relativity of like the other, like the enemy's perspective. They're just trying to survive. You know, we're just trying to survive. Who, you know, it's just like that is what is driving it. So like the pattern is like a computer system that's fighting off viruses and updating and just trying to keep going. And it's like amoral.
Ryan, okay, tell me if this connects. This may be odd, but this reminds me of a little skit that was from The Whitest Kids You Know, in which this guy pops into a park and he's like, "What year is it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's 1990." He's like, "Oh, I did it. I'm back. I'm a time traveler and I just got back and I went and I killed Joseph Josephson." And he's like, "Who's that?" He's like, "Oh, of course, you don't know him. Back before I went back in time, he was the worst. Everyone said in World War II, they said, oh, if I could only go had a time machine, I would kill Joseph Josephson as a baby. He killed like 500 Jews. Really, he was a bad guy." And they're like, "What? Well, hold on. Yeah, what about Hitler?" And he's like, "Who's that? I don't know." So with that stupid thing, would the wheel just replace Joseph Josephson with Adolf Hitler in context there?
The wheel, remember what it did do in the books? It started spitting out dragons until the real one finally, proclaimed himself. So it needed a dragon. It was trying to get one. Maybe it had candidates.
So this is one of my favorite quotes. Was from no, oh my God, Jesus Christ, who is the double agent, the Brown?
Varen.
Jesus, Varen. Thank you. So Varen was like talking to someone, and they said that there were like 2 false dragons, like one died and one got captured, or maybe 2 died. Basically, she's getting like an update on these false dragons, and she said, "I'm not surprised the pattern has no need of them anymore." And that notion really has always struck with me. Like, did the pattern kill them, or did the pattern just stop? Like the Sauron eye of the pattern just moved away. Oh, sorry, just moved away, and they're just gonna die anyways. But if the pattern needed them to not die, all the attempts to kill him would not have worked.
I think that crazy. With Rand having done the very first prophecy, being born on the slopes of Dragon Mount, from then on out, he was, I think, fated and destined to always make it to there. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he was protected to a certain degree. Go ahead.
Yeah, but also what I'm also saying this. Now, remember, also the pattern did things to protect Rand. So when Rand was born, there were tons and tons and tons of baby boys out there, so no one could find him. So when he was about to proclaim himself as the dragon, there were a bunch of dragons out there so he wouldn't be targeted directly, and he could become the dragon. So the pattern.
So all right. So then let's get into it. Is the pattern? So what the phrasing of it is, like, the wheel weaves and the wheel wills, and human lives are what it threads into the pattern. Now, is the pattern just the human lives, or is the pattern interventionist? Is it like Illuminati pulling the fucking strings, or is it just like I drop Rand in at the right time and let everything unfold?
Well, I think.
What do you guys think?
I think I boil it down to where it's supposed to be balanced.
That's okay. That confuses me. Well, wait. Let's get back to the question though. Is the pattern okay? So to maintain balance, does the pattern intervene on like a day-to-day, choice by choice level?
DT. Are you asking, is the pattern sentient? Like in that way, is it actually making decisions?
No, just like driving us. Like if Varen says, "I'm not surprised they're dead," the pattern had no need of them anymore. Did the pattern kill them? Was the pattern keeping them alive? Like,
are they
how
dead? Sure. Do we know that?
It kept at least one of them. It kept at least one of them still alive. Kept Mazrim Taim alive.
Yep. Well, yeah, he had another role to play.
Logan, but the least important ones, just kind of to Ryan's point, do just kind of lose all all clout.
Or do they just lose
get
their
captured or
followers?
killed,
Well,
what gets
they
alive.
burned the one in Haddon Merk, who then, what do they say? The nameless one in Haddon Merk, the Tyrans burned him alive.
Mhm.
Well, would that be the pattern doing that, or would that just be like the free market going like that guy's definitely the dragon? You're a prick for claiming to be the dragon when you're
Well,
clearly
but
not
it
one of the
didn't happen a week before. It didn't
Yeah,
happen
the
so-
a
so-
week
so-
before.
well, maybe
the
he
assumption,
is.
yeah. So the assumption was, so then the alternative question is, did the pattern keep them alive until they didn't need them to be alive?
Mhm.
And what does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
did they just let the free market go, and up until then they were like fighting against it, like making him dodge or like go to the bathroom like an hour before he normally does, so that he doesn't like get shafted? You know what I mean? Like, what is the pattern doing to keep these people alive? Like, how is this thing working out?
We
Yeah,
also
we do have
go.
do have something in our world that's kind of similar. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the fourth turning. There's a great book called The Fourth Turning. You've probably heard this idiom anyway, or this saying that strong men make good times, and good times make weak men make bad times, and bad times make strong men. And there's something called this four turnings that they can kind of record back hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's usually somewhere between an 80 to 90 year cycle. And it's somewhat synonymous with generations. So 4 generations of men. And we tend to see humanity move in cycles. And right now we would be leaning into a fourth turning. The last fourth turning was kind of World War II. And then the first turnings are generally much nicer. Fourth turnings are always very like calamitous, very, very contentious. This is why we start to swing back to things like fascism and whatnot. But it goes way back. So the question is that turning? Why do we have these repeating cycles happening in humanity? And it's not that someone's pulling the strings or that the pattern is necessarily controlling it. It's that human nature is what's driving that cycle. When things get very easy, we start to kind of get confused and you get lazy. You lose kind of the things that, and for example, like idle hands are the devil's play tool, right? You've heard that saying. Like the less kind of challenges and struggles we have to go through, the easier things are, the lazier we get, and the lazier we get, the worse we make everything around us. And this cycle tends to repeat. I wonder if in this case, the turning of the pattern is very similar. And it's not that it needed a dragon. It's that, at this point in time, the dragon was coming. And people just knew it. There's this sense in the market, if you will, where they kind of see things happening and they kind of just react to it in a way. And that creates the outcome.
Here's where I would challenge you on that, is that where Min herself says that the visions around people that are important to the pattern are much more clear for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
we don't have
absolutely
clear in our world.
show
For
Nick.
sure.
And is the idea of something being important to the pattern, therefore kind of steps on that free market kind of style of just, this is just what people do. If the pattern has people that it considers to be important, and she does see them pretty clearly. Go ahead.
And they do this in the book too, in a different way. The stronger a Taviran is, there are certain people who can see them shine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like Matt, Rand, and Perrin were like bonfires, according to Swan Sanche. And other people, so people, when you saw them, the pattern did kind of single them out for certain people. Also people that could channel. Min said that she doesn't always see them around everyone, but people that could channel always had them around them. So the pattern did target other people, which also goes into another thing I have about free will. And as far as like fairness in the pattern, because my question is, so if you can't channel, right? Can you never, ever, ever be born with the power to use the power?
You mean in subsequent turnings, like when you're reborn?
Will you ever will your soul ever have that bliss that they're talking about that has been bestowed upon certain people to touch the actual power of creation.
I'm not sure if that's ever been answered in the books. I don't think so.
No.
But I've always figured you couldn't be.
That would be highly, highly, highly unfair for certain souls, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, perhaps. I mean, lots of things in life just kind of are.
True.
I mean, like, some people are born with much different abilities than other people all the time.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
Yeah, I don't see a channeling wolf brother ever. I think they're just different extremes of different things, and I think if there was a wolf brother who could channel, they would be a god. Kind of.
I would think that a wolf brother actually is more powerful than a channeler.
Once they learn Tyrone,
oh my God!
Like, for sure,
wolf brother. Not only that, I mean, you remember that the longer they stay in there in the flesh, they become more and more immortal. They become
Small side note on the series, like they really, for a long time, I was super disappointed in what RJ did with Perrin, and then by the end of the books, I was like, Perrin,
Perrin, he's the most powerful man in the world, actually.
Yeah, epic. But yeah, you're right.
Let me go back to this, the terminology for a second. We have a wheel and we have a pattern, and when I think of the term pattern, it seems like it is something that is pre-constructed, right? That you are then filling in something that is already determined. Like if I was making a shirt from a pattern, I would be
a template.
Yeah, a template. Very, very good. Am I wrong to think that there might be template use in the term pattern, or is the pattern itself the product, the actual woven tapestry as it is that the pattern?
Yeah because
I think that's the wheel.
The wheel is the power. The wheel is the power source, right?
The
one power, Sidar and Sidene, and the true power and whatever else Rand was using are the powers that were in the universe.
He brings this up in the article too, where he talks about the different when she says he's the water that turns the wheel.
Right.
Can't really. He brings that up as a point where is that mean Rand's outside of the power? He's the one driving it.
And we've had this conversation, I have, not to be repetitive, but like my belief is that there's no free will in Randland until Rand battles the Dark One, steps outside of the pattern, and then chooses to let him live. I think that was the first free will expression of the entire story for the Tavern.
And when would they lose it again? What makes that go away? Because it has to come back around again. So if he gives them free will by doing that, if that's the moment where he that decision.
No, I don't think he gives them free will. I don't think. No, he didn't create free will. He created the predeterministic world that is just continuing.
I think what the author is saying is that once men see something, it becomes truth. It's no longer even. It becomes. It is a truth that just hasn't occurred yet, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, right. And I think he doesn't get into physics either, which is another interesting thing that he didn't bring up once. I was kind of waiting for him to, is that there is this idea that time is a dimension, and if there is an all-seeing being, that he lives outside of time, then he's at all places at once, right? And that he got into it a little bit with the point within a circle, that being the dot in the circle, where he can kind of see all points of the circumference, and he's equally distant from them all at every time. But there's a lot of people in modern physics who would subscribe to that if you are outside of time, and we do know that time is a relative thing. For example, a satellite in the sky runs at a different time than we do on planet because it's affected by gravity, and we know that time travel is theoretically possible forward, not backward. But so I mean, it's not just voodoo. There's some physics to this,
right? Right.
So
And
he never touches on that, but there is that theory that if you were able to see it, like he says, he's not predicting the future and taking away the will. He's saying this will happen because it does. These choices that you are going to make, you do make and will make, and that's what will happen.
well,
All right, so DT, like, so you're saying, okay, so if a satellite's running at a different time,
Yeah, when they launched
Right.
satellites initially, they ran their clocks at the same speed as they run clocks here on Earth, and very quickly they found they were all out of sync.
Yeah,
And
a
they
clock on
realized
the
that,
moon is different than a clock
yeah,
here.
gravity affects time, so the gravity on the Earth is different than it is on the moon. So the clocks actually run at
okay,
a different speed.
so none of that makes sense to me.
I know
Just,
it's weird.
just to be honest, like none of that makes sense to me intuitively or like theoretically. But
Really?
could that be the mechanism for seeing the future if you could like literally run interdimensional things out of like? So are
Definitely.
they going faster or
Well,
slower?
think
Like
of it
like
when you've probably seen the diagram of how space-time kind of works, and you've got a big giant ball, and it's picture like a blanket or a sheet pulled tight, and it creates,
yeah.
when you've got this gravity, this denseness pulling down on this fabric of space, it creates this drop. And then imagine spinning a ball around it, and it'll go around like this, and as it gets closer to the point of the gravity, it'll move faster. So this is how time is being affected by space.
So I thought time was an invention where we looked at the sun and said, okay, that happens every 24 hours. We mapped it out, and that's what we're just running on.
A measurement of time is an invention.
All right, so tell me the difference between a clock and time.
Well, a clock just measures time at a given point. So our clocks here are measuring time at this point, but a clock, that same clock, would measure things differently at a different point in space.
Like the actual.
It's pretty weird. I'm not a
slow
physicist,
down,
so
like- No, I know this is all blowing my mind. Like I've never, like, none of this makes sense to me. I don't know if this is good television. We can move on. But yeah, holy crap! All right, so
but let's tie it to the time and the future and the Aelfin and Eilfin. They are interdimensional, it seems, to a certain degree. They are able to see the future. They tell Matt 3 things about his future. These are things that will happen. But I mean, I tend to think that they would have happened whether he knew or not that he was going to marry the Daughter of the Nine Moons. I think regardless, he would have gotten married to her whether he knew it and said those words or not, because prophecy is what it is. He was going to die and live again. He was going to give up his eye. He was going to do all these things. Go ahead.
All right, real quick.
Consider this. Do you know how easily it could be for, you could explain the Eilfin and the Elfin knowing things would happen. Say they're 160, 200 light years away from here and have a giant telescope and watch Earth, right? What they see happens isn't exactly what's happening at Earth at the time, but it already happened. And they're still going to be able to see it. Just like if we see a star right now, any star we're looking at the shit that happened 2 million years ago.
We're seeing the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, we're seeing we're seeing stuff that's already happened. So it's like it can be done.
I think when we see a star, we're seeing the star that the light had shown 200 light years ago. So when it hits us, we're looking at
years
the past
to get here.
Yeah. We're not seeing the future ever when we look into the sky.
No, but if we had a telescope that was strong enough to see that, we would be.
Yeah, we do see that. You get into the whole the James Webb telescope and how far back it's seeing. There's like a limit to it. They call the observable universe. So you can only see so far back in time.
And the universe is the only thing that can actually travel faster than the speed of light, theoretically, because it's expanding.
Yeah. It's actually it's not the things in it that are moving. It's the space between them.
Yeah.
It's just the weirdest thing. But the whole point of what I was trying to get at is that if you're a being who is outside of time, like shown by that point within a circle, and I think that's the point, is they're not by saying this is going to happen. He's not saying it's going to happen to him. He's saying, I already saw it happen in the future. So that's how I know. I know what choices you are going to make. They are your free choices, but I know which ones you're going to make because I've seen it
Yeah.
happen in the future already. I'm in all places at once. And if Min's catching a glimpse of that or being given it by the creator, I don't know how. They never really talk about how Min sees these things. We don't really ever know that. But it's possible that just knowing it doesn't mean that just knowing the outcome doesn't mean they didn't have the choice to do so. Like, for example, I had a vision before I came here today, and I thought, okay, what's one thing I know is going to happen when I go on this show tonight, and I'm going to write it down. The person who's going to do this thing has the choice not to do it, but I know they're going to do it. And I wrote, when I get on today, Wadaholic Ozzy will say good day to me. I wrote it down in here. And he did. And he did. He said good day. Now, he could have said anything else. He has the choice to do that. And me knowing it, that he wasn't going to, doesn't mean he couldn't have.
Okay.
Just thought experiment.
All right. Yes.
No,
yes.
it wasn't a
I
vision.
do like that. However, your predictions are not infallible. Your
No,
predictions.
of course.
This was just
I'm glad you said that because you know what?
Assuming they were.
Remember, Min also had crossroad visions. Or remember, she told Swan Sanche, you know, I have a vision that if you stay with someone, you'll stay alive. But if you don't, you won't. So that's a choice right there, right? And she made the choice not to be around. She said, I don't care if I die right now.
Right.
So she did make that choice.
And that's one of the weirdest of all of her things. Like, I think that's like the first time one of her visions said, hey, like, I know all these variables and you now have a choice, but if you make, you know what I mean? Like that, am I right? Like, is that the first Min vision that does something like that?
I can't remember. There may be another one, but there's actually, she actually says that was the first vision, but I'm not sure if it was that one she was talking about. But she says it was the only time she had ever had a vision like that, or the first time. So it may be right. Yeah, she had never had a vision like that.
All right, so Dan, real quick, going back to your conversation about prophecy, I do believe there's a difference between like what Min's doing and what prophecy is, right? But also, I want to.
Min and the creator aren't the same. Yeah,
yeah, and I like prophecy is on some level like socially constructed, and we can look at like the Shanchen example where like Demandre or what is Shamael like corrupted the prophecy, right? And manipulated the prophecy, and then thus by like the Shanchan changed.
Oh sure, right? But then that's not true prophecy. No, but
wait. No, but go ahead. But I'm assuming much of their prophecy has come true because of the self-fulfilling prophecy nature of it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so like I don't know if like Min's is like almost like indisputable. Like she says, oh, that person's gonna fucking fall down, and all of a sudden they fall down, right? Like but prophecy, like every prophecy that we know except for the birth of Rand is like, is it the you know, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Does knowing the prophecy make it happen, or does the prophecy just accurately, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's never cut and dry, and I think Robert Jordan wrote it in that way specifically.
Where did the prophecies originally come from? The Corinthian cycle. Where did they originally come from? The Aes Sedai? The Aes Sedai?
I don't.
They were from people that had the talent. I mean, we have to
the talent.
Recognize there is a talent. The
talent of Patel.
Yeah.
So someone wrote it down over. Someone wrote it down over like 500 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, or whatever. And they systematically wrote down and put this thing together, right? So we know that it was from a lot of different people because of the prologues. You know, we have someone from the court in Aldenai. We have someone from the court in Shiota. We have someone even from the seventh level of elevation in Shanshan. So we have a ton of different people who are writing prophecies for the Corinthian cycle.
I thought it was Jack Corinthian. No? Okay.
That
If
was
you
Dr.
read the
Death.
Watt Wiki, I think it suggests that.
So how unfathomable are all the people that wrote this and who wrote it down and who took the time to piece this all together, like for it not to have any mistakes?
Were they other Mins? Like
Exactly.
had
We know that
successors?
like there was another Min in the court of Shanshan 500 years prior to Min.
Yeah. We know
But,
other ones
like,
have existed.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with something like this is like we only know the parts of the Corinthian cycle that they're highlighting that are actually relevant and like have like we have not read the entire text of the Corinthians. Maybe there's a bunch of shit like it's like the whole like Nostradamus shit. Like
He'll be
he's got
allergic to
something-
peanuts.
Yeah, like he's got some weird like really weirdly correct. Histler is fucking crazy, but over the bulk of all of his predictions, he's like mostly wrong. So maybe the Corinthian, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't read the whole thing. It could be like a bunch of hooey.
He was right about a lot though. Weirdly.
It's
right about a lot.
It's a neat question what you say though, because it says that Min reads the pattern. And Brother Dan asked me a question, and his question was, do you think the pattern has a future already in it? And wouldn't it have to if Min is reading the future? Like if she's reading the pattern and gleaning information about the future, it must already have a future.
I mean,
Interesting
Or
thought.
or it has access across time
To the intent of that thread.
Right. Like
if she's gaining information from the creator who can see outside of time, sure. That makes sense to me.
In that regard, yeah, maybe it's like a conduit. I always saw the pattern as like the lieutenant of the wheel. The pattern just is like, all right, boss, I got it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like the wheel is just like sitting there like fat, like
it's a nosy noble.
Donuts.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's the wheel? Is that like the creator just has like the lawnmower tied to a peg in the middle of the lawn? It's just going around. He's on his lawn chair.
And it just gets closer and closer to the peg because it
winds around. When it gets to the middle, that's when the dark one wins.
Boom.
New age.
Yep. All these cycles.
That's actually all right. So, Kev, I think we kind of addressed this. Future knowledge only precludes free will if you regard the arrow of time as immutable. Actually, we did not address that. I don't know what it actually means. The arrow of time as immutable. It's not
immutable
changeable.
means cannot be changed.
Yeah.
And that is the question where we're saying like, can it be changed? If it can't ever be changed, then there is no free will. And I think the point within a circle that the author brings up is key in saying that having knowledge of the future, if you live outside of time and can see all the things, doesn't mean they couldn't make their own choices. It just can already see the ones you're going to make.
And we saw them actually do it in the books. We saw Avienda see the future, and we saw a bear tell her to change one name of her child.
Yeah.
Where are these visions originating?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I did. Like, it's never explained fully.
You mean men's visions?
Any of them? Foretellings, dreams, men's visions.
The Terangriel, we can think that maybe they made it that way. Well, and most of these Terangriel, I think, from what I've gathered from reading the book so many times, so many of these things that they're using are things that they used in the Age of Legends to train people.
Yes.
Like the Dream Terangriel, like they even said in one of the Forsaken said in one of the books, the ones that they were using that they look like they were ghosts. Oh, one he's using a learning, one that they used for training new students.
Well, I'm actually not referring to the Angriel themselves. I'm more referring to Egwin's ability, where she has dreams that she knows have symbolic
That she's a dream. You
prophetic
mean being a dreamer?
A dreamer, capital D dreamer.
So that's
so.
her.
Where do these things come from? Do they come from the pattern? Do they come from the wheel? Do they? Where do these visions originate?
Well, I think, and I don't think that this is, subject just to people who can channel. I think certain people get born with talents in the Wheel of Time, and there's so many, like from men to Huron, who can smell things in the pattern, to Nome and Perrin and Elias, who are wolf brothers, to you hear about other people. And Elias says to Perrin in Eye of the World, there's other people, other folk that make the Aes Sedai nervous because they don't know why they're coming back or why they're here. So I think it's like just talent. Like, there's certain talents that people have. And those dreamers like Egwene and Corianin and Ishmael, that's what they can do.
Is it on purpose? Does the pattern want?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because just sentience.
I mean, Luke was one of those guys. Probably. At least my theory is either Luke was a
I'm
wolf
your
brother
father,
or
Luke.
somebody and got merged when he joined the Dark One, but he also had the ability. So
okay. All right. So the last thing from earlier. Does being able to see into the future mean that there's no free will in real time, or simply that the free choices people make is readable by some before time? And I think that's the one I think we addressed, and that's the concept I've never thought of before, and I feel much happier thinking about this. But again, as is the Bible, so is the Wheel of Time. Great story, not relevant. But great, and it's fun to
there is relevance, Ryan, in that of generally prophecy or anything that we had received or thought of as getting some insight into the future or having some sort of trick was from a divine source. Was God talking to you? Was him? I mean, we have in the Bible all kinds of people dreaming visions and having these things that Egwene, it may have been something that Egwene, I mean, Joseph was like, oh, we got to split town. They're going to kill Jesus. We got to go. I saw it in a dream. Let's go. I mean, that is kind of along the same lines, but this is a God that sent these dreams. This is a interactive Yahweh up there that's kind of manipulating the chess pieces on the fly.
Yeah, like a helicopter mom, like
a helicopter mom, exactly.
Well, is that what the creator does when he sends these visions to men?
Well,
you're the one I'm gonna
no,
I don't know.
I don't think it's do you think it's the creator sending him or the pattern?
Wouldn't it have to be? Is he nudging it because he knows that there's the Dark One on the other side who might just fucking end the whole thing, and he's kind of like, I want to give them as much choice as they have, but sometimes I need to flick that a little here, this nudge it here.
And I mean, doesn't the Christianity God limit free will?
Yeah, that's a whole different discussion. But
I mean, from the very beginning, he doesn't even want them to even touch the tree of knowledge, right? So he wants them to be stupid.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Again, just
tree of forbidden stories, though.
Just some great, it's like don't go under daddy's bed, and,
they open it up. Sex toys.
Don't look in like the mommy's boudoir and see the toys there. You're like, oh no! Once you see, you can never unsee it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of philosophical issues, topics, and fun discussions to be had in these books. And I think this is my favorite. This is one of my favorite ones in regards to prophecy and free will, and does it even exist, and especially with Tavern. So we keep kicking this Bella, even though it died.
Bella. I do think it's the best written one I've read so far, though. I thought it was the most well written. The author was really deep. I really liked the references he brought in from like different ancient philosophers too. To like, he never really expressed his own opinion. He just basically put the question out there and was like, these people have suggested this and this and this and this. And here's some things to think about. I thought it was really well done.
Well, that's very good that's a researcher through and through.
Yeah. They were very good, and I liked the spot at the end too, where he mentioned you had his notes. He called it. He had his notes, and it wasn't like citations. That's not quite what it was.
I'll say
like,
this: I feel better about this
like
chapter after talking to you guys about it. I do.
Oh, yeah.
I feel better about this chapter after talking to you guys.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like an intellectual exercise for him. Let's throw some like these like high-end theories into this kind of like prescripted world and see if it fits. And in the end, he's like, yeah, you know what? Like some of the writing in the show just makes it hard to really do this. But yeah, I liked it a lot. Thank you everyone for joining us. We're doing this weekly as much as we can. We're gonna finish this book through hell or high water.
Yeah.
And DT, do you have anything to promote before you leave?
No, I'm not really doing a whole lot of things to promote. If I was promoting, the only thing I've really promoted lately is actually you guys, because these conversations are really fun. It's really cool to get to be on with you, Jansen. I'm always blown away by your ability to just like sit there and I'm going to grab this one little obscure section of the books and like how relevant that spot is that I never would have thought of. It's really fun to chat with you, man.
Thanks,
and of
man.
course,
That's awesome.
you boys. Yeah, I love you guys. So.
Well, I think it goes without saying that any chapter that you enjoy and have time to come on and talk about, you are welcome. And we love you. All right, everyone.
Right on.
Until next week, as always, run for your lives. This is the way to leave.